Good afternoon. Today I'm here to talk about Chapter 6 in the Human Communications Loose Leaf textbook. Chapter 6 focuses on cultures in communication. My main takeaway from the chapter is that culture is the strongest force in securing good communication, and also it shapes communication as a whole. The chapter really has a major emphasis on cultural framework. It also talks about how misunderstandings come from these different cultures' expectations and their norms, and also their beliefs. So understanding culture, there is co-culture and there's also cultural identity. So co-culture is like a secondary group that you bring upon yourself. And then just regular culture identity is like your race, your religion, and stuff like that. Also like your social class and even your gender. So culture affects what we see as polite, and overall, like having a better understanding of one's culture gives us more comfortability when talking to different types of people. Culture is also like broken down into 4 different types. So you have like generational culture, which is like what generation you're from. Cultural organization, so that's kind of like what you take part in. Then you have social groups, which are like sports teams, like kind of your extracurriculars. And then you have like gender culture, or also regional culture. So gender culture is like men have certain norms and women have certain norms in store for them. So from like a cultural worldview, you have what we call individualism and also collectivism. Individualism focuses mainly on like independence and keeping everything very direct, while collectivism is more like focused on the group as a whole and how to keep the group all on the same path and like kind of together in a sense. So going back to that whole like the male versus female, or man versus woman type of cultural norms. So for men, it's usually based off like competition, achievement, and also assertiveness. So men are more focused on those 3, while women are more focused on cooperation, peace, care, and also relationship preservation. So they're kind of more of a harmony. Their norm is kind of more of like, it's more harmonious, because they kind of just try to keep the peace in all sorts of scenarios. So looking at this in like just from like a human way rather than the class way, you can simply take away that this is why like certain conversations go a certain way. Sometimes women will try to reach a compromise faster than a man would. A man might try to assert his opinion over yours. And this, like, with that being said, also like our regular culture, like I guess what we find polite, what we don't find polite, what we find overall like acceptable is different between the different types of cultures as well. So another thing that was big in the textbook was what we call cultural context. So there's 2 different types of cultural context. You have high context, which is like shared understandings. It's indirect. It's kind of just like going with the flow, or I like to say reading between the lines. So you're getting the entire picture and you're not really like breaking it down and focused on one thing. And then low is more like explicit, direct language. So it's like you need to go do the dishes, rather than saying, hey, can you do something for me? So it's a little bit, high is a little bit less, is way less direct actually than low. So then another thing is also what we call communication codes. So you have the verbal communication and then you have the nonverbal communication codes. So with verbal, it's based off like your language style, how direct you're actually speaking, and also your overall politeness. So that could be like manners, like just saying yes ma'am, no ma'am. With nonverbal, it's going to be more like your hand gestures, also your eye contact, maintaining eye contact with the audience, and also maintaining eye contact with the speaker when you're listening to them. It's also based off of facial expressions, and lastly, personal space. So some cultures, they might be a little bit indifferent when it comes to personal space, like they might not care as much about it, but then there's other cultures where they truly care about it and it's essential. We also learn most of our communication codes, verbal and nonverbal, through our different cultures. So another thing I'm going to talk about is intercultural communication challenges. So there are 4 main types. The first one is stereotyping. So that is oversimplifying a group, maybe like just taking a group and being like, they're the group of smart kids, or they're the like least fun people I know. That's like oversimplifying a group. It's more stereotyping, I would say, is more in like a racial way sometimes. Well, I guess in modern day, it's a lot of that. Then another thing is prejudice, which is just negative opinions. So I don't like this guy. That's your opinion, but it is negative, so it's considered prejudice. Discrimination is acting on prejudice. So that's like, yeah, you're not allowed to work with us because I don't like you. I don't want to do anything with you. And then you also have ethnocentrism, which is believing that one culture is superior over another. So it's like, yeah, the football culture is superior over or the college football culture is superior over the NFL football culture. So it's just like putting one above the other, I guess, is the best way to put it. So how do we become culturally competent? We just have to make sure we are more mindful, open-minded, flexible, and also empathetic. We need to show empathy towards others' words, and we need to be mindful and actually listen to them and understand where they are coming from, and also just simply put yourself in their shoes. If we apply all of these, then we will become overall more culturally competent. Lastly, one of my biggest takeaways is that making these changes, it requires a lot of awareness, flexibility, and also empathy. You have to be able to be flexible with other people's opinions and let them actually speak before talking against them. All right, that wraps up my chapter 6 takeaway. Thank you.